Mama Bird's podcast is all about empowering moms and women to live the best and most fulfilling lives possible. We hope you are so encouraged. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy.
Hey friends, welcome back to part 2 of our nutrition episode. We hope you guys love this. If you've missed part 1, definitely go back and watch that first. Thanks guys, enjoy. Yeah, I think like a good, another just basic principle for nutrition that would be a good thing. I don't know if you said this when I got up, but hitting like a protein goal daily.
Oh, yes.
Because I think that is something that most people probably are lacking protein in their day-to-day, and that makes such a big difference in your overall like just body composition.
I completely changed the way that I've been eating, and I've noticed a huge difference in how I feel. So this is working good for me right now, but I'm eating a lot of meat. So I'm not going to say I'm a carnivore diet person, but I do eat mostly meat and protein and raw cheese and eggs, and that's kind of like a typical breakfast for me would be like 3 eggs and a hamburger patty and a piece of Ezekiel toast with honey on it. That would be a typical breakfast for me. Last night for dinner, I had rice with ground hamburger on it. I grilled a pineapple for it, and then I put honey on it. So that's a hack that I would have never thought of if it wasn't for you, Darren.
Yeah, we eat honey on our burgers all the time.
Yeah, it's really good. So I eat a lot more meat than I used to. Yeah. And I've noticed a huge difference in how I feel.
Yeah, I think it's like you should, if you're trying to gain muscle, take your body weight and like that's the amount of grams of protein you should be having in a day. If you're trying to like stay moderate, like try to hit like 100 grams of protein a day is like a good like minimum of what you should be
and that'll get you in a good habit too of maybe reading nutrition labels too and seeing like how much protein is in what you're eating, because a lot of times if you're not in the habit of reading nutrition labels, you're like, I don't even know, like I don't look at this, you know. But it does, like if you're eating something, like for example, like if you're eating Greek yogurt, check it out.
18, right?
Yeah, like get their serving size and be like, okay, that's how many grams of protein is in a serving size of Greek yogurt, which Greek yogurt is a huge staple for my diet.
You mix a scoop of...
I mix protein powder in it and collagen, and so that's like ultra. And then I will put frozen blueberries in that and some honey on top, and it's so
that's
good.
A really good hack though, because it can be challenging. Like even if you're used to eating this way, like hitting that every day can be challenging. But that's a really good way to like get
you
yourself.
have to kind of get creative with how you can do it. But yeah, just find your staples
and
like things that you like.
Like one of the things that I like to do, because I like to snack, and like snacking isn't great, but like I mean healthy things, yes, but I tend to choose other things.
Yeah.
So I like to get like a good like deli turkey or chicken like lunch meat, and that has so much protein in it, even in just like a couple slices. So that is something that is a really easy, quick, like go to the fridge, grab a couple pieces of like lunch meat, and that is really good. The thing is if you jump towards like carbs and are only eating carbs, your body's going to crave the carbs and the sweets. So if you start your day with like a high protein meal, then your body's going to feel satiated throughout the day, and it's going to feel a lot better and not craving all those things that are not good for you. Whereas if you start it with like a really high carb, even if they're good carbs, you will just tend to crave the sweeter things.
I mean, you guys just experiment. Like there's mornings where I have extra time, so I'll do like a high protein. Like this morning I did an Ezekiel tortilla with 3 eggs, a slice of turkey lunch meat, and some feta cheese. And I was like, okay, that was a really good breakfast, high in protein. I worked out, and then I wasn't even hungry after my workout, because I'm like, I'm still like riding that, to where normally I may have like a banana or a couple pieces of toast, and I'm like, I need to eat right now. I need protein like right after I work out. So it's kind of like,
so Thursday mornings we've been going and taking the kids to the theater.
Yeah.
And I know popcorn is a big thing. I love popcorn. But that's not something that I should be eating right after a big workout. So what I've been taking on Thursdays is I started making my own beef jerky. So I bring beef jerky with me to the show.
In her little baggie.
With I bring a big, huge piece of beef jerky with an apple and some raw cheese, and literally, I love it.
Yeah.
And I never eat any of the popcorn. I don't even have the craving for it.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it smells so good, but I'm like eating good food and I'm getting full.
Yeah, when you feel good.
And then I feel good after I'm
like
done.
snacking is so like habit.
Yeah.
Like especially if you have kids and like they're having something, you're like, oh, I want some of that, or you know,
Right.
it's like it's just a habit thing. Or if you're like with people and there's just food out, you're like, oh, okay, like I'll take that, or you know, and it's like a lot of times you don't need it, you don't even want it, it's just habit. That's why it's
Here's
good to
a-
like set yourself up for
I want to
success.
throw out one last thing. I feel like I'm saying a lot, but this is
Mom, at the beginning of the podcast, I'm
like,
not
I
going
have
to
nothing
talk
to say, but really, this is really cool. If you have kids, this is the best thing ever, and everybody's kind of changed it up a little bit for their kids. But a banana pancake is amazing. 2 eggs, 1 banana, whip it up, and it's like a crepe. It's like a banana crepe, and the kids love it. And you can put a little bit of
do
honey
vanilla.
on it,
Yeah, I've
vanilla.
tried this, yeah.
Sometimes you put vanilla and cinnamon in it. You can just do whatever you want to do. Sometimes I think you've put protein in
I
it.
do oats and
Some
protein
people put oats.
in mine, yeah.
It's just
I like
it's the
it's easier for me to
consistency.
flip when it has
It's a little
oats in it.
denser.
Yeah.
It is more like a crepe, but I'll tell you what, it is so good, and we've all adapted it, and we've all love it, and it's been in our family forever.
Yeah, I put
So-
that on my Instagram before. I
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
some
your kids
people
won't
eat that.
know
Yeah,
that they're
it's
getting
just
their
delicious.
eggs.
Yeah, I don't even call them banana pancakes. Chip just says, I want a pancake.
And if I make
Yeah.
one
I
for
don't know if you've had a
myself,
regular
I
pancake
put
before.
walnuts in it, and I'll put a thing of protein powder, and that is a good breakfast for me.
Oh,
And I'll
yeah.
add an extra egg.
I will say, like, a lot of eating well and like nutrition though is setting yourself up for success. Like,
Exactly, yes.
So I think that's the part that even sometimes can be challenging for us. Galen and I, mainly for Galen, but like we mainly eat meat, fruit, like our meals. Okay, we have snacks in the house, but like meat, fruit, and then either potatoes or rice is kind of what serves as our additional like carbohydrates. I know fruit is considered carbohydrates as well, but the reason we did that was because he noticed a difference that when he stopped eating vegetables, his digestion was like so much better, and just he felt a lot better. So that goes back to that, you know, nutrition isn't one size fits all. A lot of people do great with vegetables. He just happens to feel better when he's not eating them. But for me, that requires, like, I have to make sure, and I'm not always the best, you can ask Galen, but I try hard. Like, I have to have meat defrosted and ready to go in our fridge, and I have to kind of batch that out a lot of times. So when I make hamburgers, instead of making 1 pound, I will make 3 pounds, and I will cook them all at the same time, and I will keep the leftovers in the fridge for like lunches or breakfast or whatever he eats them for. But I have to like think ahead. So if you're starting out, I think like cleaning out your fridge, getting a base of everything like you're gonna buy, and then having it in your fridge accessible to you, and keeping out the bad stuff, because if it's there, you're gonna eat it. Like if I have stuff in my house that I don't want to be eating, if it's there, I'm probably gonna go have some.
Yeah,
So,
and I would say too, this is something that you just reminded me of. A big thing that is like, there's so many foods that you wouldn't even think to check the ingredients on. Something that is a huge like hidden ingredient thing that is in everyone's houses are your condiments. So to read all your labels, because it is nuts. Like ketchup, even like the ingredients on that, there are better versions of almost every condiment. They may be pricier, but they are better ingredients, so you can eat them without feeling like, oh my gosh, this is like high fructose corn syrup in it or whatever. I am like a condiment queen now.
Yes.
I love, there's like 2 brands I love.
They're so good.
Yeah, they're so good. They are pricey for a bottle, but I like pour them on everything, because when you eat basically meat for every
have
meal,
some sauce.
it's fun to have like different sauces on them. So like there are True Made Foods, Primal Kitchen, and then Chosen. Is that the brand? Is it Chosen? Chosen Foods? It has like olives on it. I don't know. I'll
yeah.
have to
There's also
do they make sauces? Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna get the name wrong, but you buy the same brand as me. We get it at Sprouts, like, is it called Coconut Tree or 8 Tree? They have the coconut aminos and like
Yes.
the flavored ones too.
So there's like at Sprouts is really the best place if you're in Arizona or Whole Foods. You can get all these, but all these brands, they don't sell them. Most of them are not sold at like Fry's or Safeway.
A lot of times Target has a 15% off
Oh, that's
Primal
actually
Kitchen.
true.
And
Yeah.
I will say, True Made Foods is the best bang
Yes.
for your buck. It's
Oh my
like
gosh.
$5.79 for a
And
big
it's
bottle.
a bigger bottle,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're like barbecue sauces because barbecue sauce is one of those things that has
So
so
much
much,
sugar.
sugar in it and bad
corn
ingredients.
syrup.
Yeah,
Or
like
that's
bad
sugar, yes.
ingredients that like no one should eat. These have they have like 5 or 6 different types of barbecue sauces, and all the ingredients are so good. You can read them all. You can count them on 1 to 2 hands, and they are seriously so good.
Mustard's a solid one.
Yeah,
though. Like
you can-
pretty much.
Jordan loves
Mustard's a solid. Like
Yeah.
you can buy pretty generic brands
Yeah.
and it's still pretty good. A hack that I do, I really like honey mustard like sauce, but buying that in the store, you can't really find one that's super good. So I just buy my own Dijon mustard. I put honey and I put rice wine vinegar and I make my own.
It's
And
really good.
It's really good and it's cheap. So like you can make it yourself and it tastes similar. Primal Kitchen does have one that's really good, but for
I have
me
it in
it's
my
easy to
fridge.
like whip the honey mustard sauce up myself.
It was
so.
easier for me to buy it this time.
Yeah.
Somewhere that you might not think about that you're getting a lot of sugar is what you're drinking too. So this goes for obviously we've been talking about food and stuff, but definitely whatever you're drinking, it probably has a ton more
Oh
sugar
my
than you're
gosh, yeah.
expecting, especially if you drink soda, which like my husband drinks more soda than anybody on this planet probably. So I've been working on it for 11 years, but it's gonna happen one day, Lord willing. But like soda has so much sugar. Like your coffee
Juices.
drinks, so much sugar. If you're getting like
Coffee drinks, that's
Like
a
coffee
huge
mate
one.
creamer.
yeah,
is, you're gonna
all those things. And so like say you're a Starbucks drinker and you're trying to be like, okay, this all sounds really good, like, but I can't go without it. Start getting less.
Yeah,
So
like,
like,
you can
a
do half
venti, like a venti at Starbucks comes with 6 pumps of sweetener in it. Just be like, hey, I'm gonna try 3 today. So just start there. See if you like it. You'll start to acquire less. You'll acquire the
What
taste
would
of
you
it.
say about?
And
Because people order sugar free. Would you say?
yeah. So we kind of touched that at the beginning
Okay.
about things being sugar free. Like it is still a sugar. It is still your body's processing it a different way, but not in the best way. There's go look it up.
Yeah, you do
don't
your
know
own
the whole
research
si-
on that.
I'd rather just have the sugar.
Yeah,
I think we'd all personally
would
just
rather
order.
have sugar. But yeah. So get like half of what you do. If you go to Dutch, just be like, I'd like it less sweet or half sweet. And same with a lot of places. Just say that. They'll cut it in half, start to drink it like that, and then bump it down, bump it down. When I want a treat, I will get like 1 pump of something in it, and that's
Yeah.
like plenty sweet for me now that I'm used to.
Yeah.
I drink any coffee that I drink doesn't have any sweetener in it. We all have been kind of drinking like the
Maple
cold brew
syrup.
that you get in like the cartons at the like
I love
store,
Stoke.
like Stoke or,
Yeah,
whatever, or
Stoke's my
Starbucks, whatever.
favorite.
Get the unsweetened one, and then we put maple syrup in it, and it is and with a little bit of cream.
Maple
and it's
syrup
so
is
good.
so good in everything.
Yeah, maple syrup
I
is
love
kind of
maple
the
syrup. Maple syrup has a lot of like health benefits to it, even
It's
though
a
it's
natural
still
sweetener. It's
a
still
sweetener.
sugar.
It's still
And
sugar,
honey.
but
Still
And
sugar.
honey.
yeah, and
It will spike your blood sugar, but like your body will still have a response
Have
to
it
it.
with
But
protein.
it is
Yeah.
a natural sweet, like it's a natural sweetener.
Yeah.
So it is.
And we're not talking like
no,
those,
not like
like,
log
no
cabin.
log cabin.
No,
No, it's
like
not even
maple,
pure
maple
maple
syrup.
syrup.
Get it
Yeah.
at Sam's Club or Costco.
No,
in
it's
the
much
big
cheaper,
jug.
yeah.
It's-
Not pancake syrup.
Yeah.
Not pancake syrup.
No.
Yeah,
Not Aunt
and
Jemima.
honestly, like that's like one thing where like maple syrup is one of my favorite joys of life
Yes.
too. I put it
I won't
on
get
so
rid of
much
it.
stuff. Yeah, I would not get rid of honey and maple syrup. I don't feel bad about eating those 2 sweeteners. I put in my coffee, on my pancakes, whatever.
I'll put it right in the milk and froth the milk and put it over top of my coffee, and it's
So
just like,
good.
ooh, so
And then like for me, like if I'm trying to make something like healthier baking wise, I will use that too.
Oh, one of my favorite things. So good. So like we talked about Greek yogurt, but we get plain Greek yogurt, like
Oh,
the
yes.
kind of tart tasting that you're like, ew, that's disgusting. But I take it, I put a tiny bit of like vanilla extract and then some maple syrup and like whip it together. It tastes exactly like vanilla yogurt with like all the sugar in it, but without all the junk.
Yeah,
and
it's so good.
It is just
And you
so
also,
delicious.
she'll put like strawberries in it and like blend it.
up.
So then
Yeah.
she has like strawberry
For that
yogurt
kid,
too.
that's a really good kid hack.
Yeah, we can like kind of segue into kids, but yeah, that is one of the things that like I will just take fresh fruit or even frozen fruit, blend it up with yogurt, and that's what they dip everything in. Like any banana pancakes, waffles, just French toast, anything, they dip it in that. It's just so good.
So for the kid thing, I'll segue into, I know there's so much opinion on like what you feed your kids and everything. I will say, like, at my house, our philosophy is like Chip eats what we eat for dinner, and that he has no complaints. We eat pretty simply, and he's pretty good because they do know what you introduce them to. At the same time, just like I like to have things in moderation, Chip does have things in moderation also. So he loves fruit snacks. I don't deny him of the fruit snack situation. There are things that make my life a little easier, like I always do have frozen chicken nuggets on hand. I buy ones that are better for you, that don't have as much like nasty stuff in them, but like those are things that he still gets to have.
You know what was a
eating
cute
all,
story
like, the
about
good
Chip
things,
was
too.
when we were up at the cabin, I gave Grammy her factor meal, and it had a bunch of broccoli in it, and she doesn't like broccoli. And Chip goes, "I'll eat the broccoli. I don't mind the broccoli." He was eating all her broccoli. It was really cute.
He is cute. No, he does. So it's like you have to like let them also enjoy things, but also don't feel bad. Like a lot of times, it's like your plate looks so boring. There's meat on it and like some fruit, but it's okay. Like that's what they know, and that's good.
And I will say, like, I've had 3 kids, so I've also been on,
Yeah.
with my first kid, I've been on one end of the spectrum,
Yes.
and now I'm way lenient. Because I know that kids, as they're young, they're very, very easy eaters. My kids all ate so good until they got to a certain age when they
and then
stopped.
they get to the age.
And so, like, I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, my kid eats like the same thing I eat all the time, and like it's great and easy, because sometimes it doesn't, and like it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with like what you're doing. It just has to do with like your kid getting to a certain age where they're like, yeah, I don't want to eat that anymore. And it wasn't for lack of trying in a lot of times. Like right now, Davy is the best eater.
Yeah.
But I know that a day's coming where she's not going to be like that.
They just get their preferences
yeah, I
too.
hope that she doesn't, and I will continue doing the exact same thing that I did with all of the kids. But like, so don't be discouraged if you get to a point where your kid like literally ate everything so good and now all of a sudden they don't. That just is kind of natural with kids. Keep offering those things, but like also like don't feel really guilty if your kid has a chicken nugget. And at the beginning I was very, very strict of like, I made everything for Rhea. Like I made all of like that apple sauces, the puree type stuff. Like I did everything for her. She wasn't allowed to have any sort of anything processed. But then like you have more kids and you are like, you know what? Like I need to live my life a little bit and they need to live their life. I don't want to have the kid that goes to a birthday party and you're like, you can't have that. Like you can't partake in that and like be the person that's always telling their kid that they cannot have something, especially in front of other kids.
Especially if it's going to like produce bad like mental things for them where they have a bad relationship with food over certain
I say that from a point I used to be that person who was like, oh, they're not allowed to have that, or they're, and it makes, and like, not that I'm saying don't do things that make other people feel awkward, because there's definitely times where that's appropriate and appropriate, but like know that at the end of the day, if your kid has this thing at a party or around other people, they're okay and they're not gonna die. And like it's okay to be lenient and know that like your kid is still going to, you've offered them great things, you're continuing to do that and you're staying strict to that, and for the most part you're doing a really good job. If they have those things, that's okay.
So as a grandmother to all these 6 grandbabies, I was there at the very beginning when they were super, super strict, and now they're not so strict. But what I can say to their benefit is that I would buy them things just because they're your grandbabies, so you want them to have really fun foods, and so I would get them these things, and I would buy the little ices or the bomb pops and those sort of things, and they would be like, oh, the red 40, because that's a whole nother thing, but I will encourage you to look it up. It is a real
dyes.
thing.
Food dyes.
Red 40 is behavioral wise. This is huge. I can't even tell you.
She laughed at us at the beginning.
At the beginning,
She's like, you guys.
at the beginning, I'm like,
You
a
see
little
all
bit.
5 kids
but-
change in an instant.
Literally, I started and it doesn't happen like it's like you start noticing things gradually. So I would at the office we would give out suckers, and I would literally start noticing a difference when kids were eating the suckers, how the sugar was affecting them. And then when they were so strict, I still wasn't putting 2 and 2 together, but I would get them the bomb pops or buy them any sort of like candies and things like that with the red in it. And I really did notice it. I mean, I noticed it very,
Yeah.
very.
We
it
all
was
know that, like, if
fairly
there's,
quickly
like, a-
too, where I would like all of a sudden, because at first you don't want to say, oh, that's because I gave them cotton candy or because I gave them a bomb pop.
Of course, it's
or
never
because-
your fault.
You don't want to think that's why. But then all of a sudden they are running around like little banshees, jumping off the furniture and,
aggressive.
being
Yeah.
very aggressive
They
with
become
each
just
other.
very hard to manage.
And I'm not saying they were like crazy, like you would walk in our house and say these kids are crazy. They still seemed normal, but when you compare them to what they were before they ate it, then
Yeah.
I would be like, ooh, there is something to
Oh, yeah.
this.
There was a day like last week where me and Jordan were driving together and both of our kids were like melting down. And we knew they had donuts that morning. And Jordan so sweetly goes, what kind of donuts did you guys have this morning? And they go, a pink one with sprinkles. And we're like, okay, this all makes so much sense.
Yeah.
What's happening right now.
It's
just
real,
the
ladies.
meltdowns
It's
are
real.
so real.
Keep that red dye 40
Yeah.
away from your
I mean,
kids
it
at
is-
all costs. It is
If we're being
huge.
honest, it is banned in like every other country
Every
besides the
other
United
country.
States.
Look
Our
it
government's
up.
trying
Look
to
it up.
poison our children.
Yeah.
Oh,
true.
yes, and other dyes as well, but red dye 40 is huge.
Yeah,
Any dyes are not
I'm kind
great.
of with Jordan, similar with kids and food. Like Cooper was a great eater. He ate everything that we ate up until a certain point, and then he has a lot more preferences or opinions now. But I will say, like, the thing that we always try to do, that I try to do, is just, like she said, just keep offering it. What I'll ask him to do is, like, I want you just to try this tonight. You don't have to eat all of it. You don't have to finish it. But Mom, like, I made this meal. Your dad and I eat it. It's really yummy. Like, please just take a bite to try it. And then I'll do that. And I don't make him eat all of it, but I am like, I want you to try things. I want you to at least like make an attempt. And a lot of times that will produce great results where he'll be like, okay, like, and he'll finish his plate. But other nights he's like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Like, I made barbacoa one night and he's like, oh, spicy. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then I basically am like, you can have a peanut butter and jelly, or you can have a bowl of Greek yogurt, or like I have something easy, because I'm not going to make like a full entire separate meal, but I will make him something like fast. I want him to eat. So, but I am always asking him to please like try what I made. Blair still eats well.
Yeah.
It's like she's still young. So.
Yeah, I usually try to like put a version of whatever we're all eating on their plates, because Davies eats really well. Darcy and Rhea, Darcy still eats pretty well too, but Rhea is the most challenging one. So I usually will put what we're eating in some condensed form, but I'll put at least one thing that I know that she'll eat on the plate, to where I know that she'll at least get something. And then if she's still hungry afterwards, she knows that she can make herself something else or get an apple or whatever. But like, for the most part, that is just kind of how we handle it. It just, like, it gets to be a very discouraging thing for me, because I'm like, why are they this way? But like, that's why I say it, because I'm like, I don't want you to be discouraged if you're like, my kid used to do something so well and now they're not.
Yeah,
Like,
they're not
it's pretty
regressing.
normal.
They're just learning their tastes and figuring things out on their
So
own.
the
just like
normal
we
thing
do.
for people to do is when you get really flustered and you've got your kids going to games and you're picking them up from school or whatever, and your schedules are super hectic, everybody runs through the fast food line and they're picking up fast food to bring home. Or they're justifying that, oh, it's Friday night, I don't feel like cooking, let's do pizza night. So all those things are not bad, like when you do it in moderation, but what I would challenge everyone to do is find something that is fun whether it be like, I know personally that Trader Joe's sells the pizza dough and all the toppings, and where you're more in control of what your toppings are, and the kids have fun doing that, and make that your pizza night and learn to eat in, because when you eat out, you're also going to probably get the sodas, and you're also going to get different things, and it's also very expensive. So you're building memories, and you're teaching the kids to do something with you. And when you are eating out, and you think it's much faster, but if you think about it, like, you probably have, instead of we do spend so much time on our phones, I know, we can be putting together some meals, maybe buying extra hamburger and saying, okay, well, I'm going to do like the hamburgers pre-made up, and we'll do burgers that night or whatever, so that if you think about it, it is pretty quick. It's pretty quick to make a burger.
Yeah.
It's not that, it's really, don't be that stressed, because when you get home, the kids can start doing something else, and you're going to feel really good at the end of the night, you know. And whether you choose to, all the different things that you put with that, maybe it's fruit, maybe you're going to give your kids a way healthier version of what fast food would have
And
been.
if you want to have like a healthy drive-through option, if you're in Arizona, I don't know where else they have these, but Salad and Go is a big one for us.
Yeah.
They have like protein boxes you can get for your kids, like healthier. You can get salads and wraps and things, but that's like a good healthy alternative for fast food. Something else that me and Carson have done that has been like super helpful, since we eat so much meat, we buy like half a cow from Arizona grass raised beef is what it's called. We love it. We've tried multiple different like buying of cows. I don't know how to say that, but this is definitely like, we bought a few cows, but this is definitely like our favorite. It's local here in Arizona. Also, Butcher Box is another good option for you to like have meat on hand. And because back to just being prepared, having meat available to you makes such a difference.
Yeah.
So those are like my recommendations as far as
One of my favorite things to do is get like what's that called?
Chuck roast?
Like a chuck roast, like some sort of like red meat roast, and then I also like pork loin, and get that, and at the beginning of the week, like cook them both in your Instant Pot. I like
Shred 'em.
Yeah, there's like a lot of different recipes. I like a barbacoa one that I
Hers
use
is
all
the
the time.
best, just so you know.
It is so
Jordan's
good.
recipe is the best.
amazing.
I made it twice this week. We probably ate 4 meals out
It's
of it.
definitely worth it. You're going to have to get her
I
recipe.
really have her make it for me.
Yeah, it really is good. But having like that meat, that just shredded meat that's in your fridge and ready to go, like I will put it on top of eggs even for breakfast. Put it in over rice. Put it over potatoes,
literally anything you want.
Literally anything, but you have it ready and like just available to just eat it quickly throughout your week. It's so nice to have things like that. Another thing is like meatballs. I was on a meatball kick for a really long time, where just get ground beef, pork, mix them together, one or the other, and just like have a whole batch of meatballs made. You can put it with like marinara sauce and over like chickpea pasta, or even over rice, teriyaki. Like there's just so many different sauce options that you can do, and just put it over rice. Again, you can put it over potatoes, over vegetables, whatever you want. But just having like a big
So Galen,
quantity of meat just prepared already.
Yeah.
Of meat.
Galen loves potatoes. So like I'll even batch. I buy like the little baby potatoes. I slice them in half and then I score them. I put them on a baking sheet that has like butter all across the baking sheet and like spices. So you can do like 1 sheet pan at a time or 2, whatever. But I'll batch those too. And so I put them in the oven for like 40 minutes at 425. And then when you cook them the next day, you can put them in the air fryer, crisp them up again, or just microwave them. But like that's something that's
It's
easy
so
to
easy
have
to
on
have
hand.
and prepare.
Don't just make enough for one night, is the point.
Yeah, that's
make enough
always
for 2
prepared.
nights. I mean, instead of making dinner for everybody and doing a pound of meat, do 2 pounds of meat. Don't, because you will enjoy having the leftovers, and it's nice to
Yes.
have it there.
Especially as if you're a busy family, or I don't want to say, I guess not busy, but like if you're a family, if you have kids, like if you have
Everyone
jobs,
is, yes.
like just in general,
Yeah.
it's nice to be
I'm
able to
going to
sometimes
have-
not have to make another meal.
Yeah. I'm gonna have everybody here give me a recipe this week, and we'll post it on our Instagram. that's like a staple in your house. So at least one. You guys have to prepare and give me so I can do that.
Jordan's
And then-
like, I have so many.
yeah, Jordan does have. Jordan's
a really good cook.
My recipe
love
will
to
not
cook.
be really a recipe. It'll be like just
Jordan
put this
is an
in a bowl.
amazing
Yeah.
cook, and Ashton's an amazing baker.
It was a house full of people who don't like to eat anything.
Yeah,
What
that's
am I,
really
Mom? What am
sad. Darren is amazing. I literally, if you follow Darren on Instagram, which you should if you don't.
Oh my God.
Her meals are she
I don't
takes
cook
pictures of
those.
all
Oh,
her
she's so
food,
creative
and
with
it's
food.
extremely creative, and her
Just
food looks delicious. And I literally, I mean, honestly, some of the weirdest things that she'll put together are so good. So
Thanks,
I'm
Mom. That was
really
so
excited.
nice.
Yeah, mine are very boring. I eat a
was
lot
so
of meat.
You're really good on your feet. Like,
I
you could throw this
Yeah, Mom
together.
can throw
I
things
would
together.
challenge anyone on a throwdown for anything that's left in your fridge, what you can make
She
with
will
it.
make
I can do
something
it.
out of
I'm good
She's
at
going
that.
chopped.
Yeah,
apparently.
that's a good one for her. No. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, we barely touched the surface, but I thought that was a pretty good, like, just a
It's a good thing just to
general-
like
yeah.
start thinking about.
Yes. So
Just
if you
start
have
looking
any
at
like,
labels.
if you have specific questions about anything that we eat or nutrition in general, or like want an opinion on something that you like, or just are curious about,
Yeah, let us know which- yeah.
We would love to answer.
Let us know some of
anything.
your hacks.
Yeah,
and
if you
some
guys
of-
have any
some of your
ideas or things, comment on our Instagram.
Like it.
Yeah, like it.
Subscribe. Share.
Do all the things. So yeah.
And don't be discouraged, really. Just start
Yeah.
out very small. I mean, small always
And don't forget to have fun.
leads.
Yes,
Yes,
always
it always
have
leads
fun.
to some. And surround yourself with other people that are really excited about just the way that they eat, and share your ideas, and it's fun.
It is.
Yeah, I think
Take
it's really
pride in what you are feeding yourself.
yeah.
All right. We love you guys so much. If you have any topics you want us to cover in the future, let us know, and we would love to just talk about it. All right.
Absolutely.
See you later.
See ya.
Adios.